Hello everybody, Kevin here, Raptor94. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be talking about Battlefield 2042 Open Beta, my personal honest opinion about it, what I like about it, what I didn't like about it. So I'm going to try to keep this short, hopefully short, maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes top, but it might go on a little bit longer. So we're going to be talking about what I like and what I didn't like about 2042 as well, and of course the concerns too of wherever this, if all these bugs and glitches are going to be fixed in full game. So other than that, let's get this started. So you guys didn't know, the beta for Battlefield 2042 came out roughly last week, and I have gotten the opportunity in trying out thanks to EA Play subscription. So got a chance to play the beta early. And this is probably like the first, probably the first time that anybody is ever gonna be playing 2042. So of course the hype level is pretty damn high. A lot of people are looking forward to it, especially after playing the Vanguard beta, being extremely mediocre. Everybody's just looking forward and just checking out 2042 Open Beta to see if the beta is gonna live up to the hype or not. So. And for the most part, from what I played, I do have some concerns about the full game when it comes out, as well as some of the problems that the game has, as well as what it did right. So I have played the beta for like a couple of days now, and I think I got a good understanding of how the game is and what kind of direction DICE is going for. But on that, let's start off with the good news. What I like about 2042. Well, the visual-wise, the graphics looks pretty good, I'll say. Probably looks almost on par with Battlefield 5. If in some areas it looks even better than Battlefield 5, but for the most part, the graphics looks pretty good. The environment, the foliage looks really good, especially when the weather start kicking in, when it starts raining. That's when the game started to stick out. The visual starts to stick out, quite a bit in a very good way. And for the most part, I think, as always, DICE has nailed down the graphics fidelity of the game. It is running on the latest Frostbite engine. I'm not sure it's still Frostbite 3 or Frostbite 4, but they stated that it is running in the latest Frostbite engine. So we can expect, for 2042 to look, really, really good. But I'm kind of quite curious of how the other map is gonna look, the other 6 launch map, because right now Obrador looks pretty cool and all. But I think the other maps are gonna stick out a lot more, considering they're so diverse, so unique, especially the heavily urban city maps. That map I'm definitely looking forward to trying out. But for the most part, the graphics looks pretty good in this game. But you can already expect, DICE and Battlefield and Frostbite, the game's going to look really good regardless. And another good thing I want to talk about is that, well, it plays like a Battlefield game. It feels like I'm playing Battlefield again. That open sandbox experience that's been missing since Battlefield 5 and maybe a little bit of Battlefield 1 is definitely back. And to me, that is a very good thing, because I think everybody's been, they've been wanting that type of Battlefield sandbox experience for the longest time, and unfortunately Battlefield 5 just wasn't a cup of tea for everybody. And even though I do like playing that game, even for me, I personally think Battlefield 5 is a huge step backward from the Battlefield franchise in terms of map designs and the overall core gameplay experience. Like, it's just a huge mess, Battlefield 5 was, like, internally wise. So I can see why Battlefield 5 really didn't live too long, considering of that repetition it has, as well as the internal issues going on within DICE itself. So but that's why 5 is kind of just a letdown. But 2042 is definitely looking to be more of a Battlefield 4 successor, in my opinion, because to me it feels more like Battlefield 4 than Battlefield 5 and 3. Definitely going with the big Battlefield 4 vibe. But overall, though, that epic sandbox experience that you love and enjoy in Battlefield games is definitely back. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. You can drive tanks and go cars. You can drive a plane, helicopters, do whatever you want. You want to strap C4 on Casper's, drones. You can do that. Send that drone to somebody, blow up that C4, and boom, It happens. You want to strap a bunch of C4 on an ATV or a vehicle and ram it to your tank? You can definitely do that. All that epic battlefield, epic only battlefield gameplay moments, it can happen in this game. You can do whatever you want. Do whatever you want and taking down the bad guys in style, or going there, fast and dirty, whichever. And I think that's why everybody quite liked, the gameplay experience in 2042. I think everybody had a lot more fun compared to Vanguard beta, that's for sure. Simply because, you can do stuff that, like you can do in Battlefield 4. Jump out of an airplane, get your RPG out, and blast the shit out of that fucking plane coming after you. Or you can do the classic solo helicopter where you jump into the gunner's seat, you blast a few infantry, swap to the seat of the pilot, and then continue on your merry way. All that, you can do that still in 2042, and I quite, like I said, I do quite enjoy, seeing other people doing that. It's not something I'll probably do, but, maybe sometimes I'll probably be lead to last resort and might end up doing stuff like that. Who knows? But overall, though, I'm definitely glad that the Battlefield experience is pretty much back for 2042. And I can't wait to see how many crazy shit people are going to do in 2042, especially with the new map coming out, as well as Portal 2 and Hazard Zone especially. Definitely want to see what kind of crazy shit people are going to do and what I can do when I able to play the full game on the different vanilla maps. But yeah, looking forward for that sandbox Battlefield experience for sure in 2042. And let's talk about the map size and just the fact you're fighting against 128 people in one map. This is the first time a Battlefield game to feature 128 players, and that is absolutely insane. And what I like about that is that it makes the Battlefield experience more immersive, in my opinion. And especially considering the size of the map, you are going to be, encountering, mini firefights here and there before you get into the big action in like the main fighting site, where you get like fucking 20 people, 10 people on one site, and that can happen, everybody. And when you get that many people in one contested site, it really feels like you're in a battlefield. Like you are fighting against multiple squads and squads of enemy forces, and it gets pretty crazy. And I love the fact is that they have included AI in this game, which has been missing since Battlefield 2, kid you not. Maybe 142 as well, but back in the old Battlefield games, you can have AIs essentially to take spot of human players that do leave the game, or you can actually do solo game, if you want. So now they have included AI just to keep the game, more alive in a way. So that way you don't have to worry about empty, player slots, in a way. But once a new player joins in the game, then that AI will be replaced by the player. So I do quite like that they have included AI just to keep the game, pretty much alive. And the AI in this game are actually pretty competent. Although sometimes they do stupid things, like if they're driving a helicopter, they're just gonna fly in a straight line and not even bother moving away from the rocket, from the AA guys firing the rockets at them. But they can still, you don't want to underestimate the AI. They can actually hold up, on their own. They actually do hit you quite accurately, so you might want to kill those guys quickly before they actually manage to take you out. But I do quite enjoy that the AI are in the game, and they do look different compared to to the player characters as well. So if you keep an eye out for like the certain gear and equipment they wear, the AI, and especially when you kill them, the kill feed will literally show for example, First Lieutenant Hopkins, and it shows AI on it. So it will definitely tell you that you have killed an AI in the game and not a player. And I do quite like that, because now it gives the option for people if they want to play solo. From what I heard, solo play in All Out Warfare with just AI can happen. So if that's the case, that would be pretty cool, to say the least. To the point you can just play the game on solo and just play the game for yourself. And I'm looking forward to that too, to see how the AI are gonna perform. I'm hoping there's like a difficulty settings for the AI where you got easy, normal, hard, just to make the game a little bit more interesting. Because I think Battlefield 2, 1942, that has the difficulty slider where you can make them harder or more shit at the game. So, but we'll see how it goes as the game keep going on. I think Portal's gonna support AI as well, so we'll see how it goes. Another thing I did want to touch on too is the the little detail on the micro destruction in this game. Now, granted, the destruction, from what I've seen, I'm not really that impressed compared to, like, Battlefield 1 destruction, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3 destruction. But destruction is there. Now, granted, you cannot take down entire buildings, which is very unfortunate. I wish they brought that feature back in. Bring back full-on destruction where the building just collapsed entirely. Just bring it back, guys. Like, yeah, people can hide in there. Battlefield 4 had it. Why not add in 2042? But regardless of the full-on destruction, there are actually market destruction spread throughout the game that you need to keep an eye out, at least on Orbital. Because in Orbital, there's like, you got this big gas tank canister that has like cryogenic stuff in there. You shoot that, they will actually explode or start leaking out cryogenic stuff. So when you get near it, that will actually kind of impairs your vision. So your vision gets a little bit foggy, so it's going to make it harder, for you or the enemy to see. Or you could blow up the whole thing, and if you stay in that in that area for too long, you are going to die from it. So I do like the market destruction spread throughout the game. You got explosive barrels, here you got a gas tank there. You shoot that, the whole thing explodes, and overall, but they just spread kind of throughout the map. So pretty much when you see it, you can just, oh, there's a bad guy there, shoot that, and that should light him up. Like I said, I kind of wish the game has full-on destruction with the building just collapse, but the micro tactical destruction spread throughout the game is pretty neat as well. So I'll give some slack to DICE on that. And let's talk about I guess how the weather affects the gameplay flow as well. So if the game is like getting to like a serious thunderstorm, the whole map goes completely dark essentially, or not completely dark, but it gets a little bit more darker than usual, which means it's going to be harder to see certain enemies, as well as how the game flow, how the game pace is going to flow too. So some people might not probably won't be sniping as much when it starts to rain, since the vision is going to be a little bit more harder to see some people. So we'll probably see some more people getting more into the to the action, like trying to cap bases or getting dig into the action, something like that. But I do like the chain of the weather effects in Orbital so far, where people kind of switch up the gameplay just a little bit more. And I cannot absolutely wait for the full maps when they come out. Like the one map where you got the huge sandstorm coming in, you got that tornado coming in. Oh, it's gonna be epic, guys. I can already tell you how epic. Just talking about 2042 is gonna be like, it's gonna be crazy when this game come out. Like each of the maps are gonna offer different weather effects and revolution, I guess I'll call it. And I just can't wait for it, guys. Like, and I don't know. We just have to see. Thing I do like to talk about is the tornado. I only seen the tornado once, but from my experience, I did gotten closer to it, and then you actually do get pulled into the tornado, just probably like in real life. And if you stay in a tornado long enough, you are gonna get hurt, and eventually you will die from it. So it's best not to stay into that tornado for too long. But it is quite nice to see the fact that you got a huge tornado in the middle of the map with 128 players, and the fact that the physics for the tornado works really, really well. When you get into that fucking center of the eye, it gets really nasty. And I do like the fact when you get kind of close to the tornado, your HUD kind of goes a little bit haywire. So which means your map is going to be offline. You're not going to be able to see enemies red dot properly. So you find a control point nearby a tornado is going to make your job harder, but it's also going to make their job harder too. So I do kind of like that dynamic gameplay when the tornado comes in. Unfortunately, the tornado is a rare occurrence for of how many times it appears, so it kind of not appears as often. But when it does, brace yourself. The tornado is going to mess up your tactical awareness quite a bit. But it's also really, really a cool sight to see. Like, just from a perspective of soldier and seeing that tornado, like the sheer size of it, like it's fucking insane. Unfortunately, I didn't record any footage, showing the tornado. Like I said, the tornado is pretty rare to see it happening. It only happened when I got into my first match, and unfortunately I wasn't recording. But when I saw it and I got into it, I was like, man, this is fucking cool. Like, this is probably the first game that has something that big like that in a video game with 128 players with the physics working properly for the tornado. Like, it just looks fucking insane, and I cannot wait when it does appear in other maps, because when a tornado appears, you got lightning strikes and all that shit hidden everywhere, and on top of that, you got stuff like containers, cars getting pulled into from it, and what Dice is implying, that some of that stuff that that is being pulled from the tornado could actually come back down on the ground and hit you and kill you in the process, or it can even hit you in the tornado. So like I said, I cannot wait for the other maps to come out with this dynamic tornado coming in, destroying fucking everything. Cannot wait for that. I think it's going to be a pretty cool experience when that tornado comes in, and then sandstorm of course, and who knows what other revolution that's going to happen in the other levels. So I'm more hyped in trying out the new maps more than anything, because I already played Orbital so many times, so I really want to try the other vanilla maps and see if they live up to the to the hype or not. Let's talk about another good thing. I would say was another good thing I kind of want to talk about, but it's also kind of a mixed bag for me too. It's probably the specialist operators in the game. Now, granted, I don't think operators shouldn't even be a thing for the Battlefield franchise, but they're all gonna be here to stay. Unfortunately, I don't think guys are not gonna make drastic changes in taking out the specialists. But the specialists do offer some quite unique gameplay mechanics that you can take advantage of in the game, and I do quite like that. I've been playing McKay most of the time for the assault class, and I gotta tell you, that grappling hook that he gets is just fantastic and extremely useful. You can get to areas that no other operators will be able to get to, and if they can, it's going to take them quite a bit of time to get up there. So having that grappling hook, giving you that mobility and going to buildings and buildings, is really a big tactical advantage for you already. And I think McKay is going to probably be the most played operator or specialist when the full game comes out, simply because he has the grappling hook and his passive ability where he aims down sight faster when he's using the zip line. So but yeah, he's gonna be pretty damn he's definitely being played a lot more compared to other operators. I think my second favorite specialist I play is probably is the medic lady. I'm not gonna bother pronouncing her name, but yeah, the medic lady. I think her special ability is pretty cool, how you can heal people on the fly. You can also heal yourself as well with the syringe gun, and from what I heard, the syringe gun can revive people in the alpha test. So I'm thankfully they got rid of that, because that would have made her super OP if you can revive people with just a syringe gun. You can just look at them, pop, shoot them, done. They're back into the fight. But I think also she can revive people faster, and she revives people at full health too. So that's another advantage of having her playing as her, simply because she can heal people faster. And on top of that, she can revive you at full health. And having that full health is going to matter of life or death when you're fighting against multiple squads and contested control. And I guess another good thing I want to talk about is the map layout and the Conquest flags, and how Conquest works differently with the sectors. I think the sector feature is a little bit nice. It's a nice change of the gameplay flow. So now instead of having rely on capturing multiple flags in the older Battlefield games, now you gotta capture certain sectors down in order to get that ticket bleed. So each sector can compose of either 2 flags in one sector or 1 flag in one sector. But maybe in other maps it might be 3 flags in one sector. Who freaking knows? But pretty much in order to do proper ticket bleeds, you're gonna have to capture sectors now instead of capturing flags, which will I guess it will make the team a little bit more motivated and try to capture sectors now instead of trying to hold 1 flag at a time, because sectors is going to be important, because every time you capture a sector, that will bring down the ticket count to 10 every time you capture a sector. So it is a key in capturing most of the sector and try to hold them as long as you can, so that way you can ticket bleed the enemy as much as possible before it's, until it's too late for them to even catch up, and then they'll lose the game. So yeah, the ticket bleed is going to be pretty pungent in this game in my opinion, especially now you got 64 against 64 now. So if you lose both, you lose 30 guys in one attack, you're going to lose 30 ticket, and that's going to be a big hurt to your ticket. So be mindful, try to revive as many people as possible if you can, so that way you can avoid that ticket bleed. And of course, try to hold down those sectors as long as you can, because some of the sectors in Orbital can get pretty intense, especially the D sector and the C sector. Those two Pacific sector on Orbital map, it can get pretty fucking hectic, and I can see why it gets pretty nasty, simply because it's so condensed into one area, and a lot of people just go into that area just to get into the thick of the action. And in my opinion, I think that's a good thing. That way it makes people more motivated to try to cap those sectors, so that way they get that ticket bleed. And of course, also get into the thick of the action and have some fun, shoot some people, do your own Battlefield thing. So I think it was the right choice for DICE to change up Conquest in a way, so that way, instead of holding individual flags now, you gotta hold sectors now, and the sector is gonna definitely play a much bigger role in some of the other maps we haven't played yet. Haven't played those maps yet, but like I said, I'm looking forward to trying those maps out, because I think this might be possibly the best Battlefield game we're probably gonna get in a very long time. But we won't know for sure until we get our hands to the full game, and whether it's gonna work at day one or it's gonna fucking shit itself in day one. We don't know. But I'm hoping that's not the case, because I really want to dig into the action, playing as the different operators as well as playing the new map as well. But overall, though, I think 2042 is looking pretty good. It has a lot of potential. Gunplay wise, I think it's pretty decent. The gunplay is not as good as Battlefield 5. It definitely feels like a mixture of Battlefield 4, 3 mixed together with the gunplay. And for the most part, I think that double tap meta from Battlefield 4 is sorta there. If you want to hit targets from afar, you gotta double tap your gun in order to get that short control bursts, that are highly accurate compared to just holding down fire button. So I think sort of bring back that double tap meta from Battlefield 4. So if you want to shoot people from far away with a standard assault rifle or SMG, your best bet is to do the double tap method, and you should be able to get a few good hits, maybe get a lucky kill on that guy. Okay, well, I think we're talking about most of the goods about this game. So we're talking about how the map size makes a huge difference, especially with the player count increase. Talking about how good the game looks. And we're talking about how the revolution can affect the gameplay flow, and then we got the weather as well. And we got some of the good things that the specialists can offer. We got troops AI. We got the classics Battlefield sandbox experience. That's probably the most important part. And of course, I did forget to talk about a little bit of evolution. You can destroy the rocket that does launches in this game. If it does, prepare yourself for a big ass firework, because it's gonna be one big ass explosion. And when it does explode, you best to steer clear away from it, because all the debris falling down from that rocket, it's gonna come back falling down, and you're all gonna get hurt, possibly get killed by it. So keep that in mind. In order to do that, you are going to have to shoot the rocket quite a bit, and it hardly happens either. So it's probably one of those rare occurrences that the rocket can't explode. But from what I heard, hitting the rocket can cause enough damage for it to blow up when it launches in the air. So can't wait for that to happen. If I do record a footage of it, hopefully it does happen. And when it does explode, we just witness the fireworks and try not to die from it. Another thing I want to touch to is the sound. Surprisingly, the sound design is pretty good. Definitely a huge step forward from Battlefield 5, to say the least. Battlefield 5 sound design, the atmosphere just wasn't there. But I think Battlefield 2042 kind of nailed the atmosphere part, but mainly the sound design from like the aircrafts, the tanks, the weapons, and all that stuff, explosions, etc. It sounds pretty damn good, and I'm hoping the other maps will, offer the same, epic sound design that DICE has been offering for a long time. Especially when it comes to the weather effect, the tornado, just the sound from it alone is like, it makes you not want to go near that tornado. But in the beta, everybody go into the tornadoes because they want to see what happens. So that's just a beta thing. I'm pretty sure when the full game comes out, they're probably gonna just avoid it as much as they can when the full game comes out. So we'll see how it goes. And I forgot another positive thing for this game: crossplay. This is the first Battlefield game to offer cross-play support. So now you can play with PlayStation's Xbox players with PC, and I do quite enjoy that. I think crossplay should be the standard for almost every battlefield, for almost every game, and Battlefield is no exception. So I'm glad that they have crossplay now into Battlefield, and from what I heard too, you even got cross progressions too. So you want to play on Xbox or PlayStation 5, all that progress you make is going to carry over to PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X accounts. So I do quite like the cross progression, the type of thing. I think Call of Duty did the same thing too for their games, as long as you link your Activision account to like Xbox or PlayStation, you should have all your stuff still, all your weapons unlocked, the stuff you unlock, etc., etc. So I do like the fact that they're having crossplay now. And then the top on that, they actually have anti-cheat. It's about fucking time DICE implemented a proper anti-cheat in this game, and of course it's going to be using the popular easy anti-cheat which Fortnite and Apex has been using. So like I said, it's better than nothing. Not every anti-cheat is going to be guaranteed 100% proof from cheaters, but it's better than nothing. So but at least it has an anti-cheat now. It's going to be harder for cheaters to do aim hacks, wall hacks, so hopefully that stays true to his name. Alright, so we're talking about a lot of the good things. Let's talk about the bad things and the concerns I have for Battlefield 2042. Yeah. So about specialists, as much as that having them is a positive role, but having them in all-out warfare is not really a good idea. I don't think specialists really work that well, simply because specialists can use every weapon and gadget in their inventory, no matter if you're medic, support, or recon. They can use every weapon and gadgets. So, for example, you're a medic, right? But you want a rocket launcher? Get yourself a rocket launcher. You want, fucking, grenades instead of, first aid kit? You can do that. And I quite don't like that feature, simply because it kind of diminished the teamwork play quite a bit, considering everybody just kind of want to go gung-ho most of the time and just use their own loadout with rocket launchers and grenades, and not even bother healing people with heals and all that stuff. And plus the fact that they all look the same. You got all the same 4 specialists fighting in both sides in the game, the Russian and the US side, and that makes it really, really hard to determine who's friend or foe in terms of visual and the audio cue that they give out. So I don't know if that is a good idea or not. Call of Duty has that problem with Vanguard beta, with everybody looking the same. Luckily, Warzone or Modern Warfare and Cold War, to have them separate in different factions like NATO. You got NATO, Warsaw Pact, and Cold War. You got Coalition, and then you got the Chimera on the other side, and Shadow Company too. So I'm not sure Vanguard is gonna have Allied or Axis. It better fucking have it. But in 2042 with the specialists, they all look the same, and they're all fighting in both Russian and US side, and you can't tell. And they all look the same, and that is a big problem. And I think a lot of people kind of agree on this part too, simply because they all look the same. Sometimes you get mixed up, hey, that's a friend, and then all of a sudden you start shooting in the back, and you're like, hey, that wasn't friendly, what the fuck? It's because everybody looks the same, and that is a big problem. Hopefully they add some sort of color cue into the uniform or the outline or something, just to tell you, hey, that's a bad guy, that's friendly. Some sort of colors, alternate, like they wear a different shade of color for their camo or the uniform they're wearing than the one you're wearing for your default. So, but that would be from your point of view. But from the enemy's point of view, they're gonna look the same. So I'm not sure they're gonna implement that type of system, but they gotta do something about that. Otherwise, it's gonna be a huge mess to determine who's a friend and who's foe. And some of the abilities too that they can do, it just doesn't really work that well. Like I think my least favorite is probably the turret for boys. Granted, it does have some advantages though. It does provide it does spot enemy for you automatically. It does shoot them, but it's not the most accurate machine gun, and it doesn't really do that much damage. Besides providing some benefit for you, dealing more damage if you're near it and spotting people. But some of his abilities are a little bit mediocre. I think the drone for Casper, for the ghillie suit guy, it's kind of okay too. It spots people, but that's all I can really do. But you really want to go crazy, put some C4 on that and just drop it on top of that sniper position, blow it up, guarantee you're gonna get that kill. But we just have to wait and see until we see the rest of the operators in this game. We see what they have to offer. Because right now, for the 4 they're offering right now, it's kind of just meh. McKay right now is hands down one of my favorite. But yeah, I'm not sure they're gonna take out specialists in this game, which is probably not gonna happen. But they need to do something in terms of making them, you know, unique from from you guys and from friendly to enemy team. Give them like a different shade of color, like I said, or an outline of, hey, that's a bad guy. Because right now it's kind of hard to tell who's friend or foe. Also, they should be limited to their Pacific worlds. For example, McKay's assault. He should just only be sticking with with assault stuff, like assault weapons, assault gadgets especially. So he will be the only one to be using rocket launchers and AA missile. That should be restricted, I think, in my opinion, to just for the Pacific operator play. Because even having them access to all the stuff, like I said, the teamwork play is going to be less and less, and eventually people are just going to be rocking their gear and not caring about, you know, other people, you know, giving them meds and all that stuff. They're just going to be caring more about themselves, getting more kills. So that's just my 2 cents. Another thing I want to touch upon on is the net code and the hit registration. The hit registration in this game is probably not the best in my opinion. Now, granted, it's not as bad as Battlefield 3 and 4's hit registration, but it's not that great either. Especially with the character animations not, you know, not properly synced to, so the animation is kind of wonky looking. And on top of that, I think there are some certain movements you can do in this game that makes it harder for you to shoot them, but for their point of view, it's easy for them to shoot you in the, you know, in the face. So they definitely need to iron out the netcode, make the animation look a little bit more smoother, you know, compared to making them look all super choppy. Especially when in the vehicle. God, when you're in the vehicle turret of helicopters, tank, cars, regardless, it looks so bad. It becomes so stuttery. It becomes, you know, it almost makes it unbearable to just, you know, even, you know, look at that point of view for a long period of time. Like, it is very hard to like shoot people when you got everything all laggy and stuttery. So they definitely need to iron out the netcode for sure. Hit registration also needs to be ironed out too, because there are a lot of times where I hit the person multiple times and somehow the person's not dead. They get a drop of me and they're like 1 health away. And on top of that, the snipers too are not that powerful in this game. Most of the sniper headshots I get in this game doesn't kill them 1 shot for some odd reason. It does not.
I'm not sure.
It does not kill them 1 shot. Either the crosshair for the scopes are, you know, are not aligned properly, or it's just the fact is that the sniper rifle is just not strong. So I don't know. They gotta iron it out. We just have to see until the 4th game comes out. But so far, the netcode, the hit registration is just way off. The movement system, I'll have to give a con for that too, simply because the movement just doesn't feel as smooth compared to Battlefield 5. I prefer Battlefield 5's movement simply because how smooth it is, how the parkour system works well in that game, how you can jump on ledges and all that stuff. It just doesn't feel, you know, it does not feel right in my opinion. It feels more like Call of Duty Warzone, more like the movement system, especially now you got that tactical sprint feature now. It makes the game feel look more like Warzone now in a way, and I quite don't like that feature, but we'll just have to see. But hit registration, netcode's gotta be fixed when this game come out. Otherwise, this game might crash and burn if the netcode and hit registration is not working properly. And let's talk about a lot of glaring issues too that this game has, like the plus system, you know, how you can customize weapon on the fly. I think that's a neat feature, but it doesn't really work properly in the game, in my opinion. At least in the beta, from what I experienced. And for some reason, when you attach the hybrid scope, it works right for the first time. But when you die and you have that attachment still attached to your weapon, you cannot switch from red dot to the regular 3x scope. And in order to do that, you gotta take up the scope out again, and you gotta put the scope back in to make it work again. That shouldn't be a thing. I don't know why. DICE didn't fix that in the beta, but you know, that is a very annoying feature that needs to be fixed before the game comes out. Or it's gonna be really annoying how you gotta switch scope just to make that hybrid working properly. Hella fucking annoying. And I don't like the fact is that your weapon loadout does not save, you know, with the weapon spec you have built for that weapon, the plus weapon system. When you start a new match, you gotta build up your attachments again for your guns, and I quite don't like that. I kind of wish it has a feature where you have a weapon preset, you know, loaded when you load into the game. Which I think is going to be a thing when the full game comes out. I have no idea, but I'm hoping that's the case. But other than that, it's a very annoying feature, the fact you have to attach all your weapon stuff attachments again at the start of every match, and the hybrid scope's not working properly too. So I think that's something that they need to fix, which they probably do have it fixed by now. The overall experience in 2042, I have to say, is it feels like Battlefield, but not exactly Battlefield. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I have a lot of concern for 2042. Like, the way the gameplay, how it flows, how you add a specialist. I think that's kind of going too far away from, you know, what made Battlefield, you know, with the classic, you know, class system. You know, just assault, medic, support, recon, how you just the underdog soldier. I kind of wish to go with the elite route for Battlefield 5, where you get to play as that character on any classes you want. I was hoping to do something like that, but now specialists are going to stay here and pretty much be in the games essentially. But I'm hoping that the balance wise for this operators, you know, doesn't overshadow some other operators where everybody's gonna be playing a bunch of BKs, for example, or Irish when the game comes out. I'm hoping the balance wise is gonna be good for these operators. Otherwise, everybody's gonna choose the same operators every fucking time in every game, and that's gonna get pretty damn stale. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping people will try out different things. Try not to, you know, trying to make this game like a competitive tournament game where everybody's gotta choose the right meta weapon builds and the meta build for the classes for McKay or all that stuff. I'm hoping everybody try new things out when the game comes out. Try out different classes, different operators. Don't play the same operators every time. Me, I always try to switch my gameplay up. You know, every time when I play Battlefield, I always try to do something different. Try out a different new gun, different classes, etc., different gadgets, whichever that works. If it doesn't work well, then I'll go back to what I like to use, and if it does work well, I will use that gadget a lot more. That's the whole point of Battlefield. Play the game, fine-tune your tactics, your equipments, your awareness. Just try new things out. That's the whole point of Battlefield. You know, if you want to stick to the old same meta stuff, play Call of Duty Warzone or some other games. But Battlefield, just try something new. See what happens. See if that goes well or not. But I'm hoping that this game lives up to the name. But at the moment, it's looking pretty concerning. Another bad subject I want to talk about is the performance. Performances. It's god awful. That's all I have to say. Now, granted, it is an open beta, so I know the beta is not going to run that well, but it runs kind of iffy. Sometimes it run good, but sometimes there'll be time my game will be running at 50 to 40 frames sometimes, and it's quite a shame because the game looks really good, but you know it is hindered with shitty performance issue, and the game just doesn't run that good. There's a lot of micro stutters here and there. Big huge lag spike as well, and like I said, the netcode is not that stable as well, and the hit registration is not that good either. But mainly the performance is what's been killing me most of the time in the game. It just doesn't run as good compared to like other Battlefield games. Even Battlefield 5 runs way better and smoother, and when the frame drops, the whole game is affected, like the way you turn, your sensitivity. So when the frame drop, it's gonna affect your game experience quite big in 2042, and that's why having a decent frame rate in this game is needed. Because when the frame drops, I can't turn as fast as I like I used to, because the frame is affected with sensitivity and all that stuff, and your turn speed. So overall, you're just gonna get absolutely fucked in the end. So I'm just hoping to iron out the performance when the game comes out, because you got DLSS announced for the game, so when that comes out, hopefully that should make the game run a lot better. So hopefully that's the case. But what I'm really concerned about this game is just, you know, if the game's going to be, you know, live up to this hype. That's what I'm really afraid of. If this game doesn't live up to the hype, then we might as well call it Battlefield, you know, call it for Battlefield franchise. Let somebody else develop Battlefield other than DICE at that point. Maybe use a different game engine too. Who knows? Maybe that will solve some issues. Probably not. But yeah, that's all I got for my thoughts on Battlefield 2042. I know the video is quite long. I did say it was going to be a lot shorter, but it ended up being a lot longer than usual. But I want to give my full in-depth thoughts about this game, and That's my overall thoughts on 2042. Did I have fun playing the beta? Absolutely. Is it going to be a great game when it comes out? Potentially, yes. It might be a good game, but I'm still worried that DICE are not going to be ironing out most of the the huge major glaring issues on this game when it comes out. I'm hoping the servers will not crash when the game comes out. That would be a huge shame if I can't play any 2042 if I get into the game. So hopefully the servers won't explode, and hopefully the game will be stable when it comes out. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the game, but if it ends up being an epic flop, then I'll have to say goodbye to Battlefield at that point, which I don't want to, but we'll see how it goes. We still have yet to play Hatter Zone, Portal, and as well as Breakthrough for 2042. So we gotta try out different game modes as we play the game. So we'll see how it goes when it comes out. But yeah, guys, that's all I got today for Battlefield 2042 Open Beta review. That's my personal opinion about it, what I like about it, what I didn't like about it, and my concern about it. I would say is wait for the game to come out, wait for reviews, or if you subscribe to EA Play, pay $4.99 per month and play the full game, see if you like it or not, and pretty much judge if you think the game is worth having or not. But other than that, I will be looking forward to checking out 2042. I'm gonna try to squad up with my friends as well, and hopefully we can do some major hurting on the enemy team. It's gonna be epic. I think it's gonna be epic. I'm hoping it'll be good, but we just have to see when the game comes out. But other than that, I'm looking forward to 2042. Much more hyped than Call of Duty Vanguard, and hopefully it blows Call of Duty Vanguard off the water. Because if it doesn't, then Call of Duty is gonna remain king of FPS at this point, and which I don't want that to happen. So other than that, I'm looking forward to 2042. If you guys are looking forward to it, hit in the comments down below what you guys think about 2042. And I'm gonna end it here for now because it's gone for too long. And if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you guys didn't, hit the dislike button on this video. It's up to you. And if you guys want to see me play Battlefield 2042 or any other games you want to suggest for me to play, leave the comments down below, and I will check out the game suggestions that you want me to check out, as well as what you guys want me to play in 2042. Portal, Hazard Zone, All Out Warfare. Leave in the comments down below. But all I gotta say is I'm still looking forward to Battlefield 2042 when it comes out on November 19th, I think. So when it comes out, expect me to play some 2042 when it comes out, and hope you guys are looking forward to. Because other than that, guys, I will see you in the battlefield, and I will see you next time. But other than that, guys, until then, I will see you in the next one. Peace.